Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome to Dreamer 7, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 24, which is the first turn for us. So this is going to be a new series. This is a sub-game that we jumped into for Lucid's tournament. Kind of aid, just, aid the game forward. At the same time, there is another sub-player, I think Agartha over here, that is jumping in at the same time that we are. So this first turn is going to be basically us just going over everything that is going on, kind of acclimating, reviewing all the stuff for our nation, figuring out where we are currently at, what we currently have access to, and kind of making a brief roadmap for the future. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our neighbors and what is kind of going on from a world perspective real quick. To our south, we have Ubar, who... I'll talk about diplomacy as we get to, right? So to our south, we have Ubar, who is right here, I believe. And we have, if I'm remembering correctly, we have a non-aggression pact with them, and we have a territorial pact with them over Ulm, because apparently the Ubar player and the Yomi player prior to me worked together against Ulm. We have Ermor to our west, who we do not have any current diplomacy with. Which is a problem because they got some big scary armies on our border. We've got the remnants of Arcocephale to our east. Oh, no, sorry. Arcocephale is down here, so not the remnants of Arcocephale to our east. Fomoria to our east. That has been eaten by Helheim. So I think Fomoria is completely out at this point. So their lands have been taken over by Helheim and Arcocephale, and maybe a little bit of Sarmatia. With Sarmatia to the northeast, but we don't have any, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any diplomacy with Arcocephale or Helheim. We have Sarmatia to the northeast. As far as I'm aware, we don't have any diplomacy with them. We have Hinnom to the northwest, over here, right here, I believe. And they've kind of poked into this area just north of the Ermorian lands, taking some of the Olmish lands, I suppose. We have non-aggression pacts with them, and then we have Relay in the pond down to the southwest of us. Other individuals, I can only see so much, but other individuals I know, we've got Lanka over here, who is at war with Relay and I think Agartha, or was at war with Relay, was at war with Agartha, I think, maybe. They've been attacked by a couple people, but they are holding out. And then there's someone else. I don't remember. Who else is in this game? I think they are out. I think no one else is in this game. I think they have been defeated. So Agartha. Yeah, so this is Fomoria defeated. Ulm is AI. Okay, I guess I haven't. So, 2 people out on turn 24, 2 new subs in, and yeah. So that's kind of like the overall world status diplomacy situation. Size-wise, we're not doing too bad. We're sitting at, what is it, 20? Yeah, 20 provinces right now. Um, decent provinces, generally speaking. We've got a couple of good ones. Which is good because we're Yomi, so we have a bad income malice. We have negotiated with Ubar for the Olmish capital, and in return, I believe Ubar gets these two provinces without any issue from us. Is what this was negotiated prior to my involvement, and I believe we also have to send Ubar after we get Ulm. We have to send like 5 turns of income or something like this. So this is not really a deal that I would have taken, but it is a pre-existing deal that I am going to honor. Of course, the caveat there being that we have to take Ulm. But we should be able to take Ulm. We might run into a couple issues, but we should be able to take Ulm eventually. It just depends on kind of what we have to face. It is AI, so hopefully it won't be too terribly much of an issue, but we'll see. So size-wise, we're doing okay. We're not crazy, but we're doing okay. Looks like Helheim is doing very well for themselves. And it looks like Hinnom is doing generally well for themselves. Yeah. So let's look at the next thing on my list. Income-wise, we're actually doing okay from an income perspective because of like this looks low, but you got to factor in the minus 25% malice that we normally have, and the fact that we have unrest in a couple of locations, unrest in our capital, unrest in several locations, actually. So that is a bit of an issue. Yeah, we got little ticks of unrest basically all over the place. Militarily, we are doing okay. So Yomi has this kind of weird situation at the beginning of the game where they don't have real free spawn kicking in yet. So you can see like we have a couple of Ko-Onis and Aka-Onis here in Miskia. And then we've got a little batch over here in Kodal Swamp. And then really we don't have any other big clusters of Ko-Onis or Onis in general. We're going to try to strive towards changing that shortly. What we do have, though, is we have a bunch of little groups of Bakemono Sho with Yaris, and a couple of like little clusters of Ko-Onis and Lizard Warriors and friggin' bandits and shit like that. So we're kind of all over the place right now from a infantry military standpoint. We do have several Dionis. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dionis, which that's pretty good for 24 turns into the game. Dionis are incredibly expensive, so the fact that we have so many of them at this point is pretty nice. That's going to be something that we can leverage, hopefully. But other than that, we don't really have a lot of military might, which is a really big issue for, you know, stuff like Ermor and potentially Helheim and stuff like that. So, noteworthy stuff that I wanted to point out while we were going through military. We do have our prophet here, who apparently has won a arena. He has the Champions Gladius, which is pretty nice. Luck, quickness, inspirational, affliction resistance, that's pretty decent, right? We can give him some battle fright, though. That's unfortunate. We can give him some gear and make him pretty potent. We also have this guy, Masatori the Dione, is an extremely rare double air random Dione. So this guy's potentially very valuable for us. We're going to try to keep him protected. We also have two of our national heroes already. We have the Devourer of Demons over here, Tsunekage, who is his real claim to fame. He's fire or death, but his real claim to fame is the fact that he has 40% regeneration. So that's pretty cool. And then we also have this guy, the Bandit King, and he's really valuable for the fact that he is blood and he can break you into blood. So having him pretty early on is pretty nice. He generates blood slaves every turn, and he can blood hunt relatively effectively. So that's pretty cool. And then otherwise, we don't have a lot else going on militarily. We have a couple of locations where we have some Naminaris. We have taken Ancient Woods from Ulm, and this is nice because it has Lizard Shamans, so that'll be cool. Yeah. So next up, I wanted to take a look at where our research was. So we've gone up to Alteration 3 already. Alt 3 is pretty useful because it gets us Iron Skin. And that's pretty much it. I mean, depending on the randoms that we get on Diones or things like that, we can also do stuff like Mirror Image. But really, we're here for Iron Skin, and we would want later on Temper Flesh. So there's that. And then we have Enchantment 2, which is I'm not 100% sure why the previous player has gone up to Enchantment 2. Enchantment is super valuable for Yomi, obviously, but Enchantment 2 doesn't really do too terribly much. I think actually that they might have been going up for Enchantment Strength of Giants or something like that, but I don't know. What I am having, they've also gone to Construction 3. So I'm gonna take them, finish kind of like the construction route. We're gonna go up to Construction 4, because Construction 4 is gonna get us access to better construction options for thugging, and it's gonna get us access to some path boosters and things like that. And we're gonna try to get into forging a bunch of things like owl quills and research boosters and things like that. We have very low research speed right now. Currently, my plan is to just finish out Construction 4, then go up Conjuration a little bit to potentially get into things like Konoha Tengus, or Karasu Tengus, or maybe even towards Shikome, depending on how far we go. That's also going to give us access to things like Earth Power for thugging. And then further into Enchantment and Alteration. This is probably going to change. This is just really I want Construction 4, and the rest of the stuff is interesting stuff. We might even just go, depending on how Diplomacy turns out, we might just go straight for Construction 6, right? Go for the concept of like lightless lanterns and things like that. But I'm not sure how Diplomacy is going to turn out, so we're going to have to figure that out. So that's research. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is gem income. So right now we actually have a crap ton of death gems, a fair amount of earth, decent air, and fire, but our income is not very good. We take a look here. We actually only have 7 death income, 4 earth, 1 air, and 1 fire. So that 1 air and 1 fire is actually our base 1 air and 1 fire from our Mountain of the Oni Kings. So we actually do not have a lot there. That's not good for us. And then a lot of the rest of what we have, the astral that we have, the water that we have, the nature that we have no income for that. My assumption is we've just gotten it through luck events, probably. So we have not, or the previous player has not done a lot of site searching. As we look around, we can see there is not a lot of site searching that has been done. Looks like early war with Ulm was the main focus, so there hasn't been a whole lot of other stuff that is happening. We're going to try to change that as best we can, but we need to prioritize taking Ulm. So, that is going to be a little bit of an issue, but we'll see how it goes. I want to... We're going to need a good gym income, because our actual income is going to run out probably pretty shortly, even after taking Ulm. So we're going to need to be able to transition into a summoning economy, preferably sooner rather than later. So, and then inventory-wise, we just have a couple of random items that I'm assuming have been received through luck events again. And then we have, what is it? We've got a hammer, a dwarven hammer here, that we're going to use to forge owl quills this turn. And then only other items we have are this Champion's Gladius that is locked on the Prophet, and this Bracers of Protection that we have on Akasada over here. So, all that is to say is we have a low or weak military presence, or at least a weak infantry military presence, right? A weak army presence, supplemented by the fact that we have several Dione that have a strong bless, because the bless we are running is shock, regeneration, awe. So that's pretty decent for these early fights, right? So we don't have very large armies or very good armies, but we have several Dione. Those Dione don't have good gear. We don't have great research to supplement them with yet, to buff them with yet, so that is a little bit of an issue. We don't have great income, and we don't have great gym income. So we're in a little bit of a tough spot, especially since it looks like Ermor has done relatively well. Helheim is doing what looks like very well. Ubar looks like they have done decently well. And Sarmatia looks like they've done decently well. So, we are not in a horribly weak position, but we are in a position where if we are not careful from a diplomacy standpoint, we could find ourselves targeted and attacked by two neighbors and just decimated very, very quickly. So I'm going to try to do what I can against that. I have already reached out to Ermor on diplomacy. I've reached out to Ubar and Hinam on further diplomacy. And then I've basically touched base with all of the rest of the nations of the game just to kind of say, hey, I'm the sub coming in, you know, please appraise me of situations, blah, 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 blah. Go from there, and we'll see how it all kind of turns out. So, let's talk about what this turn is going to be in kind of preparation. We're continuing to produce Diones in the capital. We have these two fortifications down here in the southwest of our empire, Black Harbor and the Below. Black Harbor is a very good province. The Below is not such a good province, but it is a cave and a mountain. So I'm probably going to turn Black or Below into an Oni pit. But for now, since we have the gold, I am recruiting Neminaris everywhere because I want to get our research up as best as I can. We can't recruit Neminaris in Black Harbor, though, because there is no lab there. So, can't build a lab. Only mages can build a lab. So I'm moving this Neminari over to Black Harbor in order to build a lab. I've got this Pyromancer guy that I'm just going to start moving around and site searching with everywhere, okay? Because he's got 5 research. It's a drop in the bucket. Might as well get some actual site searching going, and hope that we can actually get some fire gems in preparation for the concept of like doing lightless lantern spam or something like that. Over here in Grey Mountains and Golem Range, these are both highlands or mountains, right? So they both have the ability to recruit Neminaris. There are labs and temples in both of them, which is pretty decent because they're both provinces. They're both, neither of them are great provinces. So if we can turn both of them into Oni pits, that would be pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we are recruiting Neminaris in both of them. We have temples down in Kodal Swamps, temple and lab down in Miskia, which I'm not a really big fan of. This place isn't super valuable from the standpoint of summoning Oni, but what it is valuable for is it has this cave of ghouls here, right? So that's what all of these ghouls are from. And ghouls aren't very good, but in an early war against someone like Ermor, for example, I say early war, it's already turned 24, but they can supply chaff, right? They can be a force on the side to try to like out army someone if we need them to be. So that's what we have. Tsunakage over here is recruiting those. We'll get him replaced probably eventually with a ghost general. Not a ghost general. A demon general, right? What else do we have going on? And then in Ancient Woods, right, we've got access to shamans. Shamans are going to be some of our best efficiency as far as research goes, because while they are more expensive than Neminaris, they are sacred, so they cost 46 gold upkeep. The Naminari is more expensive from an upkeep cost, not by much, right? Like, you have to have them for a long time for their upkeep costs to outweigh the increase in gold cost. But the shamans are also just useful because they're astral mages. We don't have astral mages, so we're probably going to get quite a few of those. Try to start site searching around our nation in astral, see if we can break into that and figure out something there. This guy, Uyakane, is going to be valuable for us for blood hunting. I'm sending him up to Ghent because Kodal Swamp is a horrible place to blood hunt. So we're going to go up to Ghent and start blood hunting there. We already have a laboratory there, so that should be good for us. And then most of the rest of what is happening is I'm just moving demon priests around, moving scouts around, moving small units of Bakemono Sho and things like that around. We're moving them north-ish for the most part in order to try to consolidate. We have a lot of scattered forces, right? So we've got this Dione with a couple of Oni around and about. We've got some Bakemono Sho with Yaris here. We got some Bakemono Sho with Yaris here and some cavemen. And then we've got random groups here. So I'm trying to just consolidate everything into an attackable position near Ulm, so we can get the Ulmish capital sieged down and taken. And in order, it's AI, right? So in order to try to hopefully keep the AI contained, I am moving Akasada, the Dione, with these bracers of protection onto the Ulmish capital. And Akasada is just, pretty typical stuff. Iron Skin, Blessing. Basically just what do we have access to right now, which is Iron Skin, Blessing, Flying Shield, which will be a nice little defensive boost, Flight, and then Attack Rear. Hopefully able to snipe commanders and be able to survive there. So we'll see how that goes. Trying to think of if there's anything else really interesting happening right now. I don't think so. I think that is about it. We're recruiting some scouts, So we got in Kodal Swamp, we do have a scout province. And I think we also have... There's another scout province we have, or maybe that's the only... Yeah, it looks like that is the... Okay, so probably gonna recruit scouts in Kodal for a while. The previous player does have quite a few scouts, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, quite a few scouts. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're moving 14, 15. We're moving scouts around, trying to get a little bit more information. I'm trying to consolidate them to be more focused around our borders. We've got a fair amount of scouts that are kind of like off in the middle of nowhere, which is, it's nice to have information on far off people, but more specifically, I want information on what's going on immediately around us so we can try to defend ourselves. Because I don't want to step into this nation and then, like, 10 turns from now, we are dead. Which is entirely possible. I think our biggest concern right now is Ermor, if only for the fact that it looks... We don't have any diplomacy with them, and it looks like they are gearing up to do something for us. Already having diplomacy with Ubar and Hinnom is nice. Arcocephale and Helheim, they're an issue, but I'm less worried about Arcocephale because that would be kind of like a weird noodle stretch for them to come up into us. And if Helheim comes over to us, they're just this long spaghetti string, right? So I would expect everyone around them to just be like, yoink, attack them. So I'm not super worried about them. And Sarmatia would kind of make sense, but there's this weird like set of water in between us that would make a war with Sarmatia, or Sarmatia making war with us, not impossible necessarily, but it would make it very narrow pathways into our lands, which we would probably be able to hold fairly well. But anyways, circling back around, we're in a weird state, an interesting state. We have taken a little bit of land. We potentially have a second cap in our future, in our near future. Research, we're not doing great, but we're not doing horrible. I think that's kind of the summation of where we are. We're not doing great, but we're not doing horrible. Income-wise, we're not doing great, we're not doing horrible. Size-wise, we're not doing great, we're not doing horrible. Gems, we're not doing great, we're not doing horrible. Research, we're not doing great, we're not doing horrible. Military might, we're not doing great, we're not doing horrible. So, it's gonna take a bit to really kind of figure out how we work this out, but I think we will probably be okay, at least for the near future, as long as we can figure out what's going on with Ermor. So, let's see, is there anything else? I think that's pretty much it. So I feel like we've established where we're at, kind of what we're doing, kind of what the plan is. Over the course of the next turns, we'll see how things work out with Ulm. We'll see how things work out with diplomacy from our neighbors. We'll start moving towards hopefully making some better gear, get some better research going, figure out what we're going to do from a military might standpoint. Let's actually check our score graph real quick. So provinces, yeah, we scaled up pretty quick. Just getting forts up now. Income, we had a little uptick there. Gym income has been rough. Research is pretty flat. Minion, army size, ascension. Okay. Feel like we have a cool concept there. So, last thing I wanted to touch on before I end this video is this is a new kind of like layout from what I normally do with Dominions videos. So this is the stream layout that I use, which I realize it takes away a lot of the screen size of what you can see when we do Dominions. It allows me to also play around with camera settings and things like that. So I wanted to move to this. It does leave over here. Dude, my God, why is it so hard to point? Up there. Jesus, that was horrible. It leaves that big section where the chat would normally be from the stream situation. That's basically just dead space. What I plan to do going forward, and we'll see how this goes, but I plan to, in each video going forward, to kind of use that as a checklist section or like a notes section. So as we're going through turns, and we're like, okay, well, we won this many victory, or we had this many victories and this many losses this turn. We're doing this many rituals. We're forging this many things. I'm going to try to use that section as kind of a notations area for us going through the video, so that we can kind of keep track of what is going on. I don't know if that's going to be interesting, or if that's going to be useful, or if people are going to be like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a shit. So we'll play that by ear. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how people respond. And if it is appreciated, if people like it, great, cool. Let me know in the comments. If you dislike it, then also let me know in the comments, because I would rather know that people hate that thing and would rather go back to the previous layout, because the previous layout's actually less work for me. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'm excited to be in this game, excited to see if I can. So here's another thing real quick. This is the Dreamers 7 game. So this is the Dreamers bracket for Lucid's tournament. I have won games. I've actually participated in the previous tournament, the 2020 tournament. So I have won games before, so I have no reason to be in the Dreamers bracket. So on one hand, I'm gonna preface this way. On one hand, I am by no means in any way, shape, form, or fashion intending to take this lazily, right? I plan to give it my all and try to win and focus in on things, etc., etc. But I'm also not planning on going super hard on this and making it a really big deal. There are other people in this game who are playing as with that kind of concept of like, I would like to get a victory so I can make it into Lucid's tournament, right? So it is not my objective to deprive anyone from that ability, right? From that situation. So while I am going to do my best, I am also probably not going to be overly anal about specific things. Which, I mean, when the fuck am I ever overly anal about specific things when it comes to them? So I just wanted to like throw that preface out there so that people aren't like, oh, well, you're not doing the optimal thing. Well, yeah, I'm not probably doing the optimal thing. One, because I'm an idiot. Two, I am consciously trying to not be cutthroat about this game, though I will do my best to fight, survive, win, etc. So, alright, I think that's enough hemming and hawing about random things. That's going to be it for this video. Looking forward to the next ones. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.